And you're going to release him in a sec?
Hello. There's an old buddy. He's got a butterfly now. Yes.
He'll let you release it as well.
Not bad. You go ahead.
Go ahead and bring it out here. It's going to take off.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's going to just take, they just take off. They're so ready to go. Don't, you know, pictures You make them, do you?
Yeah, I made these.
Oh, man.
Yeah, watching TV.
Oh, yeah.
Crocheting.
Oh, yeah, TV's not good, so you've got to do something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll pass that on. The ladies up there are wondering.
I see a donation box there, is there?
Yep.
Let's see what we got released from there.
No, I
Could have been Bruce, Dawn, Mike, Pete.
So I get a picture of
707, right? Memory was starting to get a little shaky there, but she was very pleased. Here's one. She was very pleased that I called, but they were kind people to me. Like I'd say hello and welcome them, and well, they were pretty.
Are you marking him?
Now, do you remember Dickie
Yeah,
Carmen?
put in on the
Dickie and Ralph from Colborne.
Seems to me the name's familiar, but I can't.
Yeah, he was the tree fella. He did tree outings for the Willoughby Tree.
Oh yes, yeah.
And his son, who's 90, just moved to Waterloo to a retirement place, but he lived in their estate in Colborne.
Oh yes.
So again, this legacy of tradition.
Yeah, all these people that you
Don't
sort
toss
of
them behind,
remember
put 'em
from
up in
years
the air
ago
so we can
there
see.
that you know, that,
Good, baby.
oh, you get quite a few visitors here, do you?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
it's good. And,
Oh, a lot of people are interested,
and
and
the club is doing well. Yeah, and Rod was quite a gentleman.
oh yes,
He had
yes.
his moments like the rest of us, but he
So
wasn't
that
perfect.
is,
Boy,
let me
he worked
guess.
hard. You know,
That is a female, right? Because it doesn't have the chunky parts on it.
But it's surprising.
Oh, that's a male.
The number of people that are interested in the
I think
Monarch.
you're right.
That,
If I can get him to hold him to the top more.
you've sort of followed it right down where they.
yeah,
I've seen the trees down
I've been there a
but
couple of times now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's quite a say. Audrey made it one year,
yes,
Male?
yeah.
and but those early years, the
Sticker.
Audrey,
So the sticker
the
says
lady
male or
from
female?
Massachusetts,
No,
and the
the
Urquharts
sticker
met at
is
Presqu'île
Just the tag.
in '63, and that's the start of the association.
Oh yes.
And you
And
put
then
it at
Willow
the very bottom
Beach,
of its tail?
Just put
were
it
the
right
club
in the
and
spot that
people
looks
that
like
really
the
got it
mitten,
going.
Oh, okay.
so that
And
it's
some of those
not
people take
interrupting
25, 30
and,
years.
With its
uh,
wings
Oh
down.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
wasting its energy. Right?
Can you put them on your finger?
It's really refreshing to look back on. And
Oh yes. Yes.
birding. Doug McCrae's still going strong at Presqu'île.
Oh yeah, at Presqu'île.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him the odd time down there. But, unlike everybody else, getting older and you don't get out as much as you'd like to.
No, I think they're up to
awesome. You're doing such a great
339
job, man.
species at the park. I forgot the last species
Sitting right in the
was.
sun.
Thank you. No, but good to see you out.
Don, can I have your title, please?
I'm a citizen scientist. I do this on a voluntary
I'm
basis.
walking and I'm like, I can't see anything.
Don, tell me what's going on here today.
Well, I'm a member of the Monarch Watch program. We're tagging monarchs to add data to a very large database that exists now of monarch recoveries and records of their migration to Mexico.
Tell me about the migration. For those that don't know, tell me what the migration entails.
Well, this time of year, the monarchs that emerge are not fully mature. They're not capable of reproducing. They'll live about 9 months. These monarchs will fly to Mexico, spend the winter in Mexico, and in the spring, they'll begin mating and migrating to the southern United States. In the southern United States, those monarchs will finish their mating and laying of eggs and die, and that next generation is the one that will reach Canada and repopulate the northern breeding area.
Are monarchs good for us?
I think monarchs are a very common insect that we're all familiar with. They're not great pollinators while they do pollinate, but it would be a tremendous loss if we were to lose that migration species. We're all so familiar with it.
It's amazing how far they go, if you can just talk a little bit about that.
Well, the monarchs we're tagging here at Garden Hill will fly over 3,400 kilometers to the wintering sites located in the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve in the state of Michoacan in Mexico. There, they'll remain dormant on the leaves of many trees, particularly the oyamel fir trees, until temperatures warm and they begin to become active and then begin the journey north to the southern United States.
You guys have been doing this here for how many years? And talk a little bit about the day's event.
Well, about 13 years here at Garden Hill, in part in support of the Dorothys House Museum, and to remember the late Rod Parrott, who was a tremendous butterfly enthusiast in Port Hope, but to celebrate the monarch migration, which is happening right now. And you see this very pronouncedly along the shoreline of Lake Ontario, or within that boundary. Monarchs heading west in good numbers and stopping to feed on wildflowers and in clover fields along that path.
What got you into it? How did you become an enthusiast / scientist?
Well, I was raised in Colborne in a farming community, so we're always very aware of nature and the changing seasons. And I heard from my colleagues at the Willow Beach Field Naturalist Club that there was this new program led by the late Dr. Frederick Hart and his wife Nora, the Insect Migration Association, and became interested. I actually wrote a letter to them in 1967, and they invited me to join their group. And I began tagging my first monarch in 1967, continued on until about 1973 when I was going into higher education and the workforce. But then in 1985, I thought, wouldn't it be really neat to tag a monarch here in Ontario and have it recovered in Mexico? And just by good fortune that year, I became the first Canadian to tag a monarch here in Ontario. It was recovered in Mexico, and the Guinness record folk recognized that as the longest migration by a butterfly. And since then, beginning in 1985, I spoke with the park naturalist, Doug McCrae, who thought, well, we could initiate an annual event called Monarchs and Migrants Weekend. That event continued for about 34 years, interrupted for a couple of years by the COVID-19 pandemic, but being revived here in the year 2022 with bird banding, monarch tagging, bird and butterfly hikes, and illustrated talks in the park.
Last question. It's great to see younger generations like Brogan taking an interest in this. Brogan's been here for a number of years, and it's great to see that. It's very important that we engage young people and help develop an interest in nature and preserving our planet. Our planet is in pretty rough shape. Climate change is happening for real. Our weather patterns are more extreme. Temperatures are hotter. Droughts are increasing. We really need to work at looking at ways of preserving and protecting our planet, and hopefully slowing down or reversing that trend. Sticky.
I'm gonna let it go. See how he does it? How gentle he's holding it?
Here, and then it should just
There it goes.
Okay. Oh, here's one for you, Ella.
Here's one for you.
Very gentle. Very gentle.
So just like that. Pinch your fingers. Perfect.
Gentle. And then you let it go.
I'll give her a second one too.
You want to? Wasn't that fun? Do you want to do another one?
Just hold your two fingers together. Wasn't it?
Isn't that exciting? Yeah. It's so wonderful. I can't believe it.
Perfect.
There it goes to Mexico. Okay. Cool. There, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Let go. Let go. Yeah.
So 724 and 725.
That one was ready to go.
It's like playing dead, like an animal might.
Can you, no, don't touch it.
Miss Parrot,
Don't want to hurt him.
you want to hold the plane
And if I flick a finger or something, he'll take off.
And you see his, this is a different kind of
She always said an odd plane because it's been in the cold for a while in the dark.
Okay, flick, see what happens.
So, Mrs. Parrot,
Can you see him?
Gone.